इनकी तारीफ करने में पूरी शाम भी कम पड़ जाएगी. All I can say is Shabaash Mithu. It's time to welcome the former Indian captain Mithali Raj.
Good afternoon, Ishan.
How does it feel when there is praise coming from the highest quarters and when the PM of the country terms you as one of the most talented cricketers ever, Mithali?
I'm very happy that he acknowledged it. It does a lot of wonders to the confidence of an athlete when the Prime Minister of their country appreciate their hard work.
Let's jump straight to the upcoming movie now, Shabaash Mithu. What was your first reaction, when you got contacted for the film?
The first reaction when the production house, when the people reached out to make a movie on me, when the proposal was made, I laughed it out. And I felt the essence of the movie has to be in and around women cricketers, just not about my journey.
So ma'am, tell us some fun shooting incidents if possible with Taapsee Pannu. And do you feel that she's managed to ace being Mithali Raj on screen?
When it comes to Taapsee learning the sport, in the sense how I bat, my mannerisms, my walking style, and how I pick up a bat and the trademark hat on. Many people told me that, there's not much of a difference between both of you in terms of the poster. And that in itself, is a compliment.
Mithali, my next question to you is in 2005, you were made the permanent captain of the team, and you also led the Indian team to the Women's World Cup final for the very first time that year. And then again in 2017. So my question to you is, what was more special?
See, both the World Cups in itself are huge and had an impact. The impact in terms of media and branding,
Right.
visibility of the sport, and there is an impact within the players, within the team, within the fraternity.
Who do you admire the most, Mithali, as far as the current lot of the Indian women's cricket team is concerned?
One is Shefali Verma, extraordinary talent, and Yastika Bhatia, because whatever limited opportunities were given to that young girl, she used it very well.
So Mithali, this brings us to the last segment of our show. It's called The Last Over, your favorite sports movie.
Iqbal,
yeah. One word for your movie, Shabaash Mithu.
I think go watch it because it's a movie on me. And if you have girls in your family who get inspired and take up sport, nothing like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us somebody who genuinely needs no introduction. Dunya inko salam karti hai. She has scored the most runs in the history of women ODIs, most half centuries in women's international cricket combined. She has the most wins as a captain. I can go on and on, magar inki tareef karne mein puri shaam bhi kam pad jayegi. All I can say is Shabaash Mithu. Without much ado, it's time to welcome the former Indian captain, Mithali Raj. Mithali, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for giving us your valuable time.
Good afternoon, Ishan.
So Mithali, let's begin from your retirement. PM Modi recently stated, friends, when it comes to sports today, I would like to say that Mithali is one of the most talented cricketers in India. I wish her all the best for the future. How does it feel when there is praise coming from the highest quarters and when the PM of the country terms you as one of the most talented cricketers ever, Mithali?
I think it's just feels. I'm very happy that he acknowledged my contribution and my achievements as athletes, as international athletes. I think it does a lot of wonders to the confidence of an athlete when the Prime Minister of their country appreciate their hard work, get them recognized, and that in itself is it acts as a boost to our confidence, to our hard work, that we are being recognized, we're being followed, and it helps an athlete, because those are also factors of inspiration and motivation for athletes to put in those hard yards when the things are difficult.
Absolutely, ma'am, and very well deserved. I absolutely agree with Prime Minister Modi there. So, ma'am, let's jump straight to the upcoming movie now, Shabaash Mithu. If you could tell us a little bit about it, what was your first reaction, when you got contacted for the film and you got to know that a film, a biopic, is being made on you? And will your fans get to know the real Mithali off the field also through this movie?
Um, I think the first reaction when the production house, when the people reached out to make a movie on me, when the proposal was made, I laughed it out. Obviously, like, suddenly out of the blue, randomly someone comes up to you and says that we want to make a movie on your journey. I mean, how do you react? I mean, you think that somebody's playing a prank. So it took me a while to understand that they are pretty serious about it, and I felt why not. The essence of the movie has to be in and around women cricketers, just not about my journey. Yes, my journey has been parallel to the evolution of women's cricket in India, but there have been many women cricketers in the past who laid the foundation for me to take up the sport in the 90s. And it wasn't a very easy platform, an easy sport or a profession, though it wasn't a profession back then. A lot of cricketers started this as a hobby, as a passion, and they pursued their passion despite a lot of obstacles and challenges. And I'm sure a lot of people would agree that in the 80s and 90s, sport in general was not seen as a profession or a career option for women. And back in those days, there were very few women athletes who've been in the media. Like we all know about PT Usha, Malleshwari. There were just couple of them that all of us knew in terms of the sport and women athletes. So in that era, to keep women's cricket alive with no funding and completely zero financial assistance, it was a huge challenge back then. And the journey definitely will also, the movie not only will see the evolution of the sport, but also how those cricketers had to fight stereotypes in the society. Right. And how the support system was. There was not much of a support system for cricketers, especially for women cricketers, from, say, the parents, their family, or the working environment. So a lot of them pursued the sport only for a certain age and then had to let it go in search of a greener pasture where they could earn money, and the livelihood is also important. Right. And so the movie is more to showcase even those aspects of the journey of a women cricketer, and of course my camaraderie with a lot many, because it also gets the spice and the masala of playing a team sport, having your teammates around who eventually become as a family member when you're on tours.
Absolutely, Mithali. They say teamwork makes the dream work. And I really hope that this movie encourages, a lot many young girls as well to take up sport as a career in the future. So, ma'am, tell us some fun shooting incidents, if possible, with Taapsee Pannu. And do you feel that she's managed to ace being Mithali Raj on screen with all the insights and training that she took from you about your overall life and character?
Well, I couldn't be part of the making of the movie because back then I was still a current player. And the entire of last year went into the preparation for the ODI World Cup, which happened early this year. And of course, a year or so we were in the lockdown, in the pandemic. And so I've not really gone on the set to see how the movie was shaping. Right. When it comes to Taapsee learning the sport, one of my very close friends, Nushin, who we've known each other since the under 19 levels, and who've been with me on tour. So she coached her in the sense, like, how I bat, my mannerisms, my walking style, and how I pick up a bat and the trademark hat on. So trying to get all the details in place. So when the trailer was out, not the trailer, but before that, the poster was out, I was quite impressed with the detailing of it. The way a bit of strands, like it was not like a Photoshop stuff, but it was so natural that many people told me that there is there's not much of a difference between both of you in terms of the poster, and that in itself, I mean, is a compliment, and I should credit the producers and the director, even Taapsee, for getting into the details of it. So as an actor, that is acting is her forte, and she's good at it, very good at it. I was little apprehensive before the movie, before the start of the movie, the shoot. Well, how will she able to play my shots? See, it's easier, like say badminton, tennis is something most of the women are tend to like. It's not a sport which was in obscurity, but yeah. Cricket for a long time, only boys or girl or men used to take it up, not women. So it was, and I was telling Nushin, I said, will she be able to hold the bat and play like me? Because I'm a literally professional athlete, like a professional batter, and will she be able to do it? Then when she went to train her, the feedback I got was like she put in a lot of hard work, hours and hours to mimic the way I play. And it shows that she's absolute professional when it comes to doing a particular role.
So coming back to cricket now, many cricketers are grateful to you when you fought for, you were one of those who fought for BCCI central contracts for women and made it possible in 2015. How difficult was that journey, and how happy and proud were you to be a part of the entire process, because of which women's cricket is now going to benefit forever, Mithali?
It was, I wouldn't say it was difficult, because coming under BCCI itself has opened a lot of roads for the cricketers in terms of resources and facilities, funding. Yes, for those initial few years, it was still the same story about the girls letting it go after a certain age, because you want to you can't survive on a semi-profession career. Right. So at that point of time, then getting to see the the bunch of players who are so talented to leave the game, it was quite disheartening. And that is why the very reason, of course, it's just not me, even a lot of other cricketers, other ex-cricketers who've tried to pitch into BCCI to get central contracts started for women cricketers. And I think I have to appreciate, our Honorable Sports Minister, Anurag Thakurji, because he was a president in 2016. He was a president of BCCI, and under him, we got the central contracts. So when it happened, I think it did benefit a lot to the women cricketers, because many girls, especially in India, just not women cricketers, but even men cricketers, I'm sure there are so many stories who come from the very rural areas of our country. That's where right. The entire family is dependent on them. And there are the same stories with the women cricketers too. Sometimes they're extraordinary talent, and they get to play India, but they're not able to help their family. So these central contracts really benefit such players, where they can pursue it as a profession, something they're very passionate about, playing for the country, and at the same time can also take care of the family. So I think it definitely benefited hugely to the women cricketers, and one of the significant I think significant stuff in 2016 which happened to women cricketers.
Absolutely. And you also spoke about men's cricket and the security, even they are given. I believe, I'm forgetting the name, but Mohammad Kaif, I think, recently tweeted last week about his father or somebody being benefited out of these central contracts as well. So even, retired male cricketers and coaches and everybody is being benefited by these contracts. So Mithali, my next question to you is, in 2005, you were made the permanent captain of the team, and you also led the Indian team to the Women's World Cup final for the very first time that year. And then again in 2017. So my question to you is, what was more special? And do you feel that these two performances have helped give a massive push to women's cricket per se?
See, both the World Cups in itself are huge and had an impact. There is one thing is the impact in terms of media and branding, visibility of the sport, and there is an impact within the players, within the team, within the fraternity. So the 2005 World Cup in that sense did make an impact in terms of the players, because we were still in obscurity, 2005. Right. And we didn't come under BCCI umbrella back then. We came in 2006-07. So that World Cup had happened under WCI banner. So until that World Cup, India always used to be a participation. We always participated. Sometimes we had a good run, we end up playing the semi-finals. We really didn't go beyond that. So being in that obscurity and then ending up playing the World Cup final was something, it probably shattered the notion that we as India players are only meant to play the semi-finals in a big event like that. We are also capable of beating good sides and, getting to play the World Cup final. And that has impacted the confidence of the team, of the players, that given the right facilities and resources, the Indian women's cricket team also can, compete rather than just participating. Right. So the 2005 World Cup, being runners-up, in that sense, it has impacted the women cricket fraternity and the players, the team. Whereas coming to 2017 ODI World Cup, we were under BCCI, so clearly even in the world governing body is ICC. So ICC has marketed that World Cup very well. And social media was very new, a year into the digital platform, social media, the Twitter and the Instagram. And that World Cup was televised, whereas 2005 World Cup matches were not televised. So with the television came the visibility. People started to watch the Women's World Cup. When the team beat England, the host, in the first game, I think that set the tone for the entire World Cup, because, a major chunk of viewership for cricket comes from the Asian countries, and especially from India. So when you know that the Indian team is doing well in the World Cup, so we had a lot of people rooting for us. And I remember even then also our Honorable Prime Minister tweeted for us, and that was a huge thing for the team in itself when you're playing the World Cup. So when it comes to the 2017 World Cup, the impact was huge because of the visibility, because the matches were televised. A lot of people were watching us. And in the same sense, the brands also started to look at players for branding. Right. So I think both is very special to me, because both the teams had very talented players, but it definitely shows the difference of how the media can impact, and how media has a huge role in promoting a particular sport or an athlete, and turning them into role models for future generations.
Absolutely, ma'am. I think that's very well put. It was a beautiful insight on the 2017 World Cup, 2005 as well. I remember interviewing your teammate Rumili Dhar, ma'am, last year. And even she had beautiful insights about the 2005 World Cup, stories about you, stories about Julandi. It was, just...
I hope those stories, I hope she spoke good about us.
always, absolutely. Ma'am, just a follow-up question about the Indian team. Do you think now our infrastructure is right up there with England and Australian women cricket, or do you think that we still have some ground to cover? Because as you said, everybody wants the Indian team to do well. The Indian team is doing well. I mean, we have a lot. We have many bright players now. But do you think the infrastructure is supporting, or abhi thoda aur gap cover karna padega?
Well, I don't see there is lack of resources or facility. Why I say that is because coming under BCCI, it has definitely sorted that factor of it.
Right.
Maybe the issue could be about the sporting culture in our country itself. Because the other day I was on a conclave talking about how to attract girls to play sport and how to get the girls to play cricket. Cricket, of course, in the last 2-3 years post 2017 World Cup, many girls have taken it up. And in the recent times, I've seen girls are not taking it up as a hobby, but as a serious career option. And they do have the support of the parents. But it also boils down to how your schools, colleges, your work system helps girls or women to continue their passion or continue the sport that they play so well. Because without those support, the player can play only to a certain level. And we also somewhere has to start working in the grassroots levels in terms of having school teams, because I'm a product of a school team way back. But I think that is the difference between England setup or Australian setup, because their girls start to play at a school level itself. Even if they don't have a team, they're enrolled into the boys team. So there is a mixture of girls and boys team, whereas we don't have that setup here. So when the girls start playing, they have to wait to play the under 19 level. So until school level, they don't have any tournaments. Only when they graduate and they are around 16-year or 17-year-old, then they start to get into the state sides. So I think that is where we can tap. That is one aspect I feel that we should be able to tap into, because starting sport early helps a lot in your just not in your physical aspect, but it teaches you a lot for a young kid at a very young age: team spirit, bonding, inclusivity of every other child. And so I think it teaches a lot, and it should be made mandatory, in fact, at school level, to enroll into a particular sport for every child or every student.
Absolutely, ma'am. I mean, sport at a grassroots level, is where it needs some trimming, is even what I feel. Ma'am, my next question to you is, what do you think about the next generation crop in the current Indian cricket team? I've seen previous interviews of yours, and I know that you don't like the word favorite, so I'm not going to ask you who your favorite is. But who do you admire the most, Mithali, as far as the current lot of the Indian women's cricket team is concerned?
See, there are two players that I think they from the Indian team, that they do have they have a lot of years to give to India, and they also have the talent and the passion to play a longer innings at the international level for India. That is one is Shefali Verma, extraordinary talent, and Yastika Bhatia, because whatever limited opportunities were given to that young girl, she used it very well. And someone who's very chirpy and talkative, because I remember in her second series itself, usually the talks are that the senior players take the junior players for a cup of coffee and trying to sort of make the environment friendly for them to express or talk to. Whereas this youngster, she took me for a coffee. So I was quite impressed, because when you come into an Indian setup with big names, there's usually this notion what they would think. So a lot of youngsters don't approach you, but she approached me. She said, Didi, I want to take you on a coffee. And she asked me so many questions. So I think she's one player who's really impressed with her attitude towards towards wanting to excel, wanting to make use of every opportunity that she might get in the coming years to excel and to help herself as a player to grow, and that can eventually help the team also to get the right results.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Mithali Raj. Watch out for both these players in the upcoming few years. Ma'am, getting to men's cricket, if you could throw some insight there as well. Your current thoughts on the Indian men's cricket team, which players, again, not your favorites, but which players you admire the most in the new bunch of the Indian cricket team?
I would say there was a lot of talk about Umran Malik in the IPL. That he bowls the fastest, and Sanju Samson, for a while he's been playing so well in the IPL, and good to see him in India colours and scoring runs. And of course Huda, I'm trying to keep up, so because when you spend years in women's cricket trying to prep up, so sometimes you're not following the news. But yeah, these are the few but I guess IPL, the last edition of IPL really unearthed many players who have played very impactful innings, and that has increased the competition manifold.
So, ma'am, one final question before we move ahead to our rapid fire round. If you could tell us one international woman cricketer who you admire the most, and one bowler who you never like to face in your playing days. Just trying to have some fun here, ma'am. One woman cricketer who you admire the most, and one bowler who you never like to face in your playing days.
I've always admired Karen Rolton. From the time, because obviously she's retired, she's an Australian left-hander bat, but in those days itself she used to play the Grade C league in Australia. That was huge. I mean, that obviously came as a surprise to all of us, because playing leagues in Australia is of a very good standard. And she told us way back in 2000, I'm talking about 2005 to 2009, that is the period that she said that she would play Grade C leagues in Australia, the men's team. So and in the current lot, of course, Meg Lanning from Australia and Laura Woolward from South Africa, both the batters are very impressive. People who've always worked on their game to take the game one notch higher. And coming to bowlers, I was very fortunate. The bowler who troubled me retired, within 3-4 years of me making debut in international. So in that sense, I was lucky that she didn't continue for a long time. She was Lucy Pearson from England. She was way above 6 feet. She would be around, she was taller than Jhulan Goswami. And she had really high arm action. She would get the ball moving in and out. So usually the left arm pacers always trouble the right-handers a little bit. And then getting someone to bowl from that higher level and getting the ball in and out was a little difficult for me. But I thanked my stars when she announced retirement in 2004, I guess.
Fair enough, Mithali. Thank you so much for being so honest about it. So Mithali, this brings us to the last segment of our show. It's called The Last Over. I'm going to bowl you 6 deliveries, and let's see how you tackle them. Quick rapid fire answers. Question number 1, your favorite sports movie of all time?
That movie which was made by Kukunur, where the guy is a fast bowler. It was shot in Hyderabad.
Iqbal?
And a very nice Iqbal, yeah.
Okay, great. So Iqbal, this one, Mithali, I had to ask you, we've seen so many viral pictures of you reading a book, during a high pressure World Cup game. Your all-time favorite book, Mithali?
My favorite genre is fantasy.
Yeah.
But then in the World Cup, I was reading Rumi completely, not me. But there was this book which I read way back, Jeffrey Archer's Parts of Glory. It's about a mountaineer and his struggle with his family to pursue his passion. And it's a true story apparently, and he was one of those first to peak Mount Everest.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, Mithali. My next question to you is your favorite cricket match that you've been a part of?
Not many that my favorite it has been. Because we've spoken a lot about the World Cups and we always speak about them. Right. I would like to mention the 2014 Test win in England. Right. I say that is because it was just one test and we were playing after 8 years of gap. And the 11 that I fed in for the team, for the match, it has 8 debutants. So it was for me as a captain, was a huge challenge, but we went on to win a test in England, beating England, and with so much of inexperience in the side. And the game itself was so fascinating because we lost in the first innings. Both the teams lost a lot of wickets through LBW. Like, there was about I think 16 LBs in both the innings. Whoa. So that was huge. And from there on, then, getting a 28 runs lead, India got 28 runs lead. And then we went on to win with a half a day, sparing a half a day. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Your best friend in the cricketing world, Mithali?
It has to be Nushin Al-Qadir. As I said, I've known her for good now almost 18 to 20 years. So, yeah.
Your mentor or inspiration that, or person you've admired the most?
There are many people that I've admired because the journey was so long. And at different phases, I've admired many people. Of course, as a young kid, all of us are so attached to our parents, especially to our mothers. Right. So my mother has been an inspiration to me. But I also had my mentor in the last 4 or 5 years, Prajita Bansal. By profession, she's a lawyer. But I think she really helped me to shape my mind and my thought process when things get very difficult. It's very easy when you're successful and everything is working your way, when the sun is bright and shining on you. And the world, is inspired by you. So, but the very challenge comes when the chips are down, when you're faced with a lot of challenges. And how do one get motivated and not give up to distress and to still keep a very positive and optimistic approach to life and to everything around. And that is why I think she played a very important role in the last 6-7 years to shape my mind.
That's wonderful to hear. And my last question of the last over, Mithali, your favorite comfort food?
It has to be home food. Home cooked food has to be my comfort level. Touring for so many years, in and out of hotels, I think I would give any day. It has to be food cooked at home.
But what did you do when you went for tours? Like, and if you missed food, like what was the food which, you would rely on again? Like you would go back to when you were touring or when you didn't get home food?
I'm not someone who does all this trial stuff on when it comes to food, because I would like to keep my system clean and not allow it to sort of juggle a little bit when you're on tour, because you have matches. So you clearly want to look after yourself. So I would always keep it very simple menu for myself. Anything to do with rice, some dal and a vegetable would do for me any day when I'm touring.
Happy living, healthy living, they said. Very well said. So Mithali, last but not the least, one word for your upcoming movie, Shabaash Mithu. For all your fans, for all your viewers, the trailer looks great. What do you want to say to all your fans who are eagerly waiting to watch this movie, Mithali?
I think go watch it, because it's a movie on me. So all of you definitely go watch it. And if you have girls in your family, please take them. So it inspires a lot of them to see things very differently. And if there are some who get inspired and take up sport, nothing like it.
Absolutely. So ladies and gentlemen, This was Mithali Raj for you, an iconic personality in the world of women's cricket. Made her debut for India in 1999. Mithali has played 12 test matches, 232 one-day internationals, 89 T20s for India in her 23-year-old career, and made us all proud, as proud as anyone ever could have. Thank you so much, Mithali. It was wonderful. You were very honest throughout the interview. Thank you so much for your time. It means a lot to us. Namaste. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the luck for the movie, Mithali.
Thank you. Thank you.